Stunning.
Well, we're alive and well.
Another day.
Isn't it so funny how your truth is a different truth than my truth?
Because what are you trying to say? Oh my god.
Because your truth earlier was like, oh no, mama girl, I've gone through the ins and outs, all the crevices and corners of my neighborhood, and there are no Ritas to be found. I'm like, I don't believe that like this neighborhood particularly doesn't have a bodega that sells alcoholic beverages.
So basically, the problem is...
Sure, walk them through it.
No,
and then I'll tell them the final.
So the problem is that we normally have a little drink, a beverage for when we record. And typically, I will go to the corner store by my apartment, which is the only corner store that I was aware of that sells alcohol, because all the other places, including the grocery store near me, does not sell, which is fine. The closest place is like besides this corner store that I was aware of before today, was like a 20-25 minute walk from my apartment. So...
And clearly you don't walk around your neighborhood because...
I do, but I have a very specific route, and on that route, I see what I see, and if it's not on that street, sorry, you're not paying... I'm not paying attention to you. But then, so I went to the corner store, and mama, the section was clear. Like, it was empty. There was a box of Mike's Hard lemonades, and the box was empty.
Oh, it was empty?
Like someone had like opened it and took it out. So I was like, okay, she's gone. So I texted Miss Peru and I said, hey girl, Miss Rita is nowhere to be seen. Could you pick some up? I need you to pick some up. And then she was like, I'm already on the train. She said, go to a different place. And I said, there's no place near me. And then she went.
Yeah, it's in New York City. New York City.
Then basically called me a liar and said that I didn't try, that I'm lazy, and like calling me all these other names that were really hurtful and demeaning. Oh. I read between the lines.
I've got a screenshot of our conversation.
Yeah, me too. And we can let the public decide, because there's attitude.
The people's court.
There's the action underneath. So if anyone who went to acting school, you would know that for each thing that you say, you need to be on action, like you're doing something to the other person. Mm-hmm. So the action that Peru said when he said, I can't remember exactly what was said. I think you said, I don't think you tried, LOL. The action on that was to hurt.
No.
That was to demean, to call a liar.
A part of me, and the follow-up to that text was like, I feel like there is, again, keeping it real here out of Pioneers and Trailblazers, which, by the way, hi, I'm Pioneer Peru.
I'm Trailblazer Nick.
This is Pioneers
and Trailblazers.
And what I'm saying is, there are specific bodegas or places that I'm sure maybe Nicholas may or may not feel like a little bit too shy or intimidated to go into. And this is coming from somebody, you're like a white, unassuming, non-threatening kind of person. And like, we've already discussed this previously, how people, view you as an introverted kid. Your look right now is giving, studious college kid.
No, yeah, and I have resting fear face.
Resting fear face, yeah. F. I have to think about
it. RFF, yeah.
And so I was like, maybe there's somewhere in your neighborhood that you haven't explored because you're just like a little bit intimidated to go. Because we all, like I'm like Latinx, yeah, but like, look, everyone who's watching, like, look, and I'm giving Gossip Girl realness today. But like, it's not like
the costume designer of Gossip Girl. I am so sorry, sweetie. I am so sorry.
Yeah, I get what I'm giving. But like, sometimes when you go, like, for example, whenever I go to like now I have like a Dominican barber that just cuts my hair. He takes 1,000,000 hours, but he does a really good job, and like I stand him because he doesn't really want to talk much.
Speaking of, I literally today was like, I need to get like a barber or like a hairstyle, like one that I like see regularly, because I'm like in the market, I think, to get this mop on my head a little bit trimmed, because we're growing her out. But it is intimidating to like find somebody, first of all, that's good and that you like.
Yes, because like as opposed to salons that are like, I guess, predominantly occupied by females, they tend to be more expensive, and like a salon experience is, and like I dye my own hair, and like people always compliment me, but I can't really cut my own hair. And so anytime I go to like, when I try to find somewhere in my neighborhood, like my neighborhood, is pretty gentrified up there. and Hamilton Heights. I'll say it. Come find me.
Girl, be careful.
But I mean, it's a big neighborhood, Hamilton Heights.
Sure.
It's just like our very first episode, you disclosing one fucking corner of the city where 1,000 million people live. Anyway,
I listen. I'm a big believer in privacy, keeping your private life private. Not everyone needs to know
because private
everything.
people do a podcast.
No. Listen, people may think just because we talk, or I specifically talk in depth about very personal details about my life. That is only one aspect of my life that I'm telling personal details about. Every other aspect of my life, girl. Oh, that shit on lock. I'm keeping that for myself. You don't need to know that. You don't need to know all these things about me. I have thought about this as well. I feel like I would be a really great and successful. I would have way more success now if I was shameless and used every aspect of my life for content.
Exactly, which is what I do.
Right. And so when I had like a huge moment, like a big moment in 2021. No, actually the beginning of 2022. And there was a period where I was like, is that what I'm going to do? Am I going to content farm my life? And
Content for your life.
Content farming. Yeah. It's a real thing, girl.
Yeah, I know, I'm agreeing.
Yeah, and so just the way that you said it made me, I just wanted to clarify. So then basically, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, but unfortunately, I like to be private, and I don't need everyone to know absolutely everything about me, so I'm like...
Well, anyway, back to disclosing where I live.
Right. Please tell everyone, what's your address?
So my neighborhood, it's gentrified to the point where, like, there are, like, trendy little eating spots and bars and whatever, but, like, the neighborhood itself, like, it's, pretty high in Latinx people, particularly Dominican people. And so there's a lot of barbershops, filled with Dominican. And, like, if you're listening to this and you're a Latinx, or if you just have ever been to a Dominican barbershop, how intimidating it can be, because it's just like it's like about 10 to 12 just Dominican barbers who are just yelling, but not because they're mad, but because it's just how the way Latinx people communicate, just yelling. And you're just there, and like it just brings me back to Peru when I was like so scared to, like, go to like a barber, because it's a hyper masculine environment, which is really silly, because then all these barbers like take themselves so seriously in the way that they're cutting hair, and I'm just like, that is faggy, dolls. Like, fucking like really going deep on the fucking fade is fag culture, and like you just don't know about it.
Did you watch? I'm assuming you did, but Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D-List.
Bitch, that is if culture for me is Kathy Griffin, and let just the record state, Miss Griffin, if you're watching, because probably I'll make a clip out of this because I love you so much,
and then we'll tag you, and then we'll assault your DMs until you respond. So Miss Griffin, so sorry for this. Sorry to bring up your name into it.
It's time to turn the narrative, and it's time for you to call the authorities and the presidential investigation on my ass, because I love Miss Griffin. She is, to me, Joan Rivers and Kathy Griffin are the dolls.
Sure. Okay. So anyway, so My Life on the D-List. There's a clip that I saw. I mean, I recently rewatched it a couple of months ago from start to finish, which iconic television is on YouTube. You can watch it all. Like, it's gone. It's gone? It's not on YouTube anymore?
No. And now finally Kathy was able to buy the rights to her own content, it seems like. And so she's finally posting like her full stand-up specials on YouTube, for renting or buying, whatever. Sure. But I feel like there is, because you can't find them to purchase D-List. You can't find D-List anywhere.
Well, no, but it was available for free.
I know, on YouTube. I now was watching all the episodes. Sorry, Miss Griffin, but like, because we were craving the content, Tina.
Sure.
But I believe the reason why
I'm poor. I should be allowed to stream things illegally. I'm so sorry. Like,
we're still spreading the gospel of Griffin, but the thing is, I believe that she hasn't been able to buy the rights. I think Bravo still holds all the rights. Maybe they're just being assholes and not letting her, buy all the rights to D-List, because everyone just wants to watch it again. It's so fucking funny.
Right. So there's a clip that I saw literally this morning that is just resonant with this conversation, because she is hanging out. I can't remember the name of the man, but he's a hairstylist and he's straight. And they're saying in the back of this car, and she's like, "So you're straight? And you do hair? That's the story you're going with?" And that just makes me think of all those men in the barbershop that are like so obsessed. But to be quite honest, yeah, I am really intimidated. Like, I really only ever get my hair cut by women, because again, men just like make me really deeply uncomfortable. Like straight masculine men. There's something about them that obviously, because growing up queer and like feminine and not relating, you feel other. You don't quite fit in.
Yeah, you're a loser.
real. No, so true. Well, no, because I was listen. When when you grow up a loser, you have to do other things to make people like you. Okay, and that's why we started doing comedy, mama.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Peru about this before we started recording. I literally had a running bit in middle school where I told people that my hair was a wig. Mind you, I don't remember how. I actually do remember. I was in 8th grade, and a 6th grader had come up to me, and
You were in 8th grade, and a 6th grader came up to you.
Yeah, a 6th grader.
The story is really building up.
No, I know, deeply thrilling. But basically, my hair is really curly and thick or whatever, and I, for the longest time, have just worn my hair as a buzz cut. But in middle school, I would let it grow out a little bit more, and I had seen my 2nd grade teacher do this thing where she would like lift like her like skin on her scalp like by lifting her hair up and like move it around on her head, and she's like, look, I'm adjusting my wig, and all of us kids would be like, oh my god, that's crazy. So I thought that was the funniest thing ever, and so I obviously copied her and learned how to do it, which is like you just move the top of your head around and it looks like you're adjusting a wig. And so this like girl had asked me about my hair, and I was like, oh, it's a wig, and she was like, what? And then I did the little trick because I'm a performer. And obviously she ate that shit up, and she thought it was so funny, and she's like, well, where do you get your wigs? And then I made a line and was like, oh, I get them from this homeless man that like lives like downtown, and like I like basically named this
Damn
street.
Storyteller.
I was like, no, I was like a whole thing, because I did this thing in middle school where I thought if the weirder I made a joke, or like the longer I like fed it into a bit, the funnier it was, and like people would like me more, like the weirder jokes I would make.
Yeah.
So I'd make really outlandish jokes and things like that, and because I thought people ate that shit up, and so then literally I told that joke 2 years later. I'm in high school. This girl is a fucking freshman or whatever, or 3 years later. And she asked me about it. She was like, wow, your hair, like, do you keep the same wig like for every, or do you get new ones? Like, do you switch out? And I was like, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? And she was like, your wig, remember you said that you like wear wigs. Like, I remember you told me. And I was like, girl, that was a joke. That was not real. And then she didn't believe me. She thought that at that moment in that time, me telling her that my hair was real was a joke.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that not as funny as I thought it was gonna be. Back. I'm like, wait.
What's funny is the fact that there's like an underlying joke and read there that they all were just like, oh yeah.
No, they easily believed it.
Yeah,
they were like, oh, it's a toupee. No, actually, we really believe that.
That's fucking piece of shit, busted ass bitch. Yeah, that's a wig.
No, yeah, I was like in middle school looking back, like thinking about it. Some of the bits and things I do, I was like, oh, if I try to do that, obviously offensive, like as a 12-13-year-old, like the things that I was like jokes I was making. Yeah, but when you're
12 and 13, everything we say is offensive.
I had this whole bit that I was like, how to plot to kill the Queen of England. Girl,
her
health beat me to it.
Girl, I had a bit in Peru because I've always been a white woman inside.
Right, of course. It radiates out. It really does.
I've always identified. So Miss Dolittle, I get it. Just kidding,
Rachel
Dolezal. But anyway, I had this bit in Peru because I was so craving America, and like I was, trying to learn English via my sisters, and I had this bit that sometimes people would come up to me during recess, and I would pretend I didn't speak Spanish, and I would just be like, "Excuse me, but oh, sorry, I don't speak Spanish. No, no hablo español."
Sorry, I don't speak Spanish.
Meanwhile, these fucking idiots are just like, look at this fucking Incan bitch. Like, have you seen my nose? Like, my nose screams Peruvian. It's like, bitch, you ain't a white woman, even if you tried. But look at me now, white womaning around the city.
Yeah.
Anyway, the bottom to this whole story is that Miss Me, who has grown into herself and just is not intimidated by any barbershop or bodega, I will storm my fag ass wearing my freaking like Ralph Lauren button down underneath my freaking Harley Davidson pink tank top. Yes, I am describing my look, with my fucking like cap, my sunglasses, my jeans. I stomped the neighborhood, and literally, Nick, within a 3-minute walk, the first bodega I see has a wide array. And it's literally up the block from your street. Make a right, make a left. It's literally there.
That's too much walking.
But the thing is that you lied to me
I didn't know it was there.
Like, I checked everywhere. There's nothing around me. The next thing is like 25 minutes away. Like you live in the Hamptons. Like
let me clarify.
You said specifically 20 minutes away.
Yes.
You know, girl, do you think bodegas are on Google Maps? They're not. Bodegas, there's a reason where most of them run for cash because they're not even registering.
The place that I was thinking of isn't a bodega; it's just an alcohol store. Like the closest that I was like for certain that had them, because there are plenty of bodegas around me that I know. I know of.
Not.
But a lot of them, most of them, don't have the adult beverages that we were searching for. So
leave it to me.
I'm so sorry.
Leave it to the brown queer immigrant to do the work, and I did it.
And listen, and you did it, and thank you so much. Thank you, your service. Thank you.
Anyway, so now we've got it, and we can, I guess move on. I am so sore. Spoiler alert, not from riding dick.
Oh, did you not have sex yesterday?
No, I didn't have sex yesterday. Yesterday was my show, Unpopular Opinions. At Caveat, if you came, thank you for coming.
I was there.
You were there. Give us your.
I was front row.
1 cent. Yeah. I trolled your ass.
Yeah, I tried to be incognito, and sit in the back.
Too incognito, and the fucking was like, no, you're not sitting in the back.
No, and then Peru dragged my ass up front. And was like, you're sitting in the front.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Where you belong, bitch.
I was like, okay.
But anyway, I didn't have sex yesterday,
Sad.
but I have been in and out of DC because of like gigs and whatever work. Gig Tina. Well, I famously did have a show recently in DC, but now I'm in there for other reasons.
Right, of course.
DC is a really interesting place to like try to hook up in because the commuting of it all and like the schedule of it all, like everyone there is pretty much like on a really tight schedule. Thursdays are a big night in DC. I went out for a little bit on Thursday. I took myself out to a few bars, went to trade. It was really fun. It was like Latin nights. It was like a bunch of like Bad Bunny and like Karol G, like my fucking vibe. But and we were just before the pod, we started discussing like some people that clearly have been getting tapped by hotties. I've been getting spoken to. I've been getting sent albums and photographs. Like people are into me, and I just want to have the record state on video and on audio that people want to fuck me. It's just been difficult to arrange.
Sure.
But am I lying? Did I not show you the taps and the messages I'm getting from people?
You did.
Yes. So I gotta make sure people know that I'm not lying about the people that want to fuck me. Okay?
No, I don't think anyone's questioning that. And if they are, they're just jealous.
They're just jealous for.
What?
Oh, my boogie. Sorry.
Your boogie?
Yeah, the RuPaul song. Jealous of my boogie.
I haven't heard it. I'm so sorry.
Oh! You haven't heard Jealous of My Boogie? Don't be jealous of my boogie.
Is it recent?
It's one of the first songs RuPaul released from like the first seasons of Drag Race.
Oh, mama, I'm young.
I'm young too, and all the what the youngs do as fucking queer homework is rewatch older seasons of Drag Race.
Like season 1?
This is... Nick, you're gonna get right to hell.
I've seen
for not knowing Jealous of My Boogie.
I've seen
Am I pronouncing it right? Boogie.
I thought you were trying to say Bussy at first, and then I was jealous of your Bussy. Honestly, but then you said boogie, and then I was like, your booger? Like
don't
what?
Don't be jealous of my Bussy. Title of that.
Don't be jealous of my Bussy.
Title of that.
Well, no, truly, and people do be jealous. People do be jealous.
But anyway, so So like I've been trying, and actually I recently finally scheduled something like a hangout date, hangout with someone tomorrow who's like super hot, and I'm really excited, and really nice too, like actually one of those that like wants to hang out, and like they know that I'm visiting, and so it's like, oh, like maybe let's go out to the bar, like have a drink or something, and then we can fuck, which is nice. I like one of those, like someone that you can actually keep in communication with or just like, bond with, because it's been like a good week and a half, mama.
With nothing.
I'm kind of like drying up.
Wow. It's been over a week for me because I tried and failed. I haven't had relations with a man since the 1st of September, and if you've seen my TikTok, you have heard by now, but I on 9/11 tried to secure some dick from an older man.
I was getting the live, like, in real time updates of
No,
this.
and I want to get into like the nitty gritty details because I couldn't
Your
do.
town hall?
Sure. Yeah.
An extended version of the
extended
TikTok.
version. Yeah. Because I couldn't get into all of the details because I tried to fit it all into like a fun little like tight 3 minutes.
Yeah, for the algorithm.
For the algorithm and also for the comedy because my story times are like crafted,
Carefully crafted.
Carefully crafted.
Like a Rolex.
Yeah. Trust and believe we're a writer. But anyway, so
On strike.
So I was at work and then this guy, I was so horny that on 9/11, I don't know, the towers came down and mine went up, and so immediately I was like, I need to try to secure something tonight. And so
You make me laugh.
Good, I'm so glad. So then I was tapping all of these like old men, and like when I get into like a horny thing, like I will viciously tap old dudes. Like I will just go on the daddy tag on Grindr, and immediately just go find people and just immediately just like, if you're kind of hot, your verse and like verse top, immediately tap. I'm like going at it, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Tap.
And especially if your profile says no taps, I'm like tap 3 times. I'm like just to make sure I get your attention. I'm like, please, I'm different.
Wait, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but just this reminded me of something. I'm so
how
sorry.
dare you?
I'm so sorry. You do it every episode.
You're right. So do you.
Yeah, because that's why we love each other.
Love.
So love.
I don't know about that.
So on Grindr, here's an actual question. When people write on their bios, please send a pic with your message. Like send a picture with your whatever. Are they talking about the people that don't have a picture, or are they just talking in general? They want a photo where like, you say, hey, what's up, plus a photo, but like I already have photos, so like why do you want a photo?
I just assume that they are talking about the people who have blank profiles.
Okay, because that's what I'm assuming, but then like I think a few times I've read and I was like, wait, did they just want like a newer photo? So I'm like going through my album, I'm like, okay, send them a photo they haven't seen.
I don't think so, because I mean I have all my photos. I have like a bunch of photos on my profile, and then I also have a bunch of photos, and I also have my Instagram link. So it's like if you want more photos,
I don't link my
you
Instagram,
can just look at the Instagram,
which is so funny because like as big of an attention whore that I am, and everything's meant for just fame and fortune, but the one area in which I don't link my stuff is Grindr, because I'm just like, I want to have that like
work-life balance.
Yes, because like sex for me, it's like a release. So I don't want anyone, and also, you know what? Unfortunately, like a part of like people going through like your Instagram and whatever is like they'll see you do comedy, and then they'll see whatever, and like I want to be seen on Grindr as like someone who wants, exactly. I want to be a sex object.
You don't want to be a person. You don't want to be full rounded.
Well, I mean, I can be well rounded with anyone who wants to go have a drink with me before fucking, like for tomorrow.
Sure.
And so like it's Saturday currently, and so I'm down for that, and creating the allure and creating just like this image of who I am, and then I'll disclose the information for you in person, like once I know. But like I don't want that to get in between. Like I'm there for a purpose. I'm there to like meet, talk, and fuck cute man, hot man.
I include my Instagram because I don't want to have any instances like what I'm assuming happened on 9/11.
Yeah, you never forget
of a Mascfishing sort of situation, because
but that also has a little bit of your blood stains on it.
It's not, because my other photos. Okay, well we'll get into it. So basically, this man, he's older, and when I say older, I mean like 60s. Like
so older.
So he's old, but he's keeping it real tight. Like his photos, ooh, like I showed it to Peru. He's hot, right?
For a daddy, yes. Not
for a daddy, sure.
No. But like we both have in that area, we both have definitely a kind of a different look of taste.
Mm-hmm.
I like daddies too, but in a different. Your daddies are like daddies.
You like, yeah. I don't know. Yours are like the daddies that you're interested in are like too pretty to me.
Yeah,
they're like
pretty begets pretty.
Yeah, sure. I like them to be like a little bit like real, like a real.
You're like a real man.
You're like a real daddy.
A real daddy.
But anyway, so I hit him up. He immediately responds and was like really interested and I wanted to hang out. And I was like, I'm at work, and he said, come over after. And I was like, well, I have to film an episode of this podcast. But then he was like, okay, great, come over after that. And I said, fabulous.
You said that in your chat.
I said I had
a podcast recording.
I didn't say podcast specifically. I just said I have a meeting that's uptown that I have to go be in attendance to, and then I can meet you afterwards. And he said great. So basically what happened was, after we filmed this episode, the last episode, which will be up by the time that this is airing.
Yeah.
I was a little bit drunk Tina, and I had to piss really bad. And so on the train home,
you went to McDonald's, right?
I went to McDonald's and got down. Well, no, I went to McDonald's after from Peru's apartment. I went to McDonald's, got dinner, and then I had 2 daddies lined up. I had 2 daddies because I was like, you always have to have a backup just in case when you're meeting new people and you're trying to hook up that night if you're that horny, because something's always gonna fall through.
Just like someone, like.
So the first daddy that I had on deck was not the daddy that I ended up meeting up with. The first daddy that I had on deck, I hit him up. He immediately was like, let's fuck now. And I said, Mama, I have work. And then he said, great. He's like, I am hanging out with friends. I should be free after 8. I said, perfect. That's going to work great for me. He's really close to where we work. So where I work. So I come back.
We work together.
We work together. So then I got off the train in that neighborhood. I stopped by work because I had to pee so fucking bad. And that was the only place where I knew that I could go to the bathroom in and out really quickly and like be fine. Because like there's no other public restrooms nearby. And I was like, great. So I had to piss like a racehorse. I go piss and I come back out and I'm smoking a joint outside, and I message this guy and I say, hey, I'm free, you want to hang out? And he said, okay, great, my friends just left or whatever, are you free at 10? Mind you, it is 8 o'clock.
Yes.
And he said that he was being free after 8, and I said, oh, I'm done, like I'm just waiting around, like I'm not going to wait around for 2 hours. And he was like, oh, I have to get dinner. Like, I haven't eaten yet or whatever. And I was like, okay, then I'm probably just going to go home. Like, I'm not going to wait around for 2 hours for you to, like, maybe hook up and whatever. And then he's like, oh, I was like, we can do it a different day. And he goes, no, like, it's my last day. I'm just visiting. And I was like, okay, guess we're not meeting up. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So then the other daddy immediately hits me up and he's like, hey, like, are you still around? Like, do you want to still meet up? And I said, yes, like, would love to meet up. What's your address? He gives it to me. I'm on the train, the whole train right there. He's sending me dick pics, being like, he's waiting for you. This dick wants you so bad. And I was like,
So, they're live, at least from what they're like photos of that moment.
Yeah, photos of that moment. It's what it made it seem like he was laying in bed jerking off thinking about me. And I said, great, Mama. Like, I'm on my way. Lives in a luxury building in Williamsburg.
This Mascfishing is going really well.
Oh, so this is the problem. So this is the thing. So
yes, Mama. I'm on my way, Mama.
So my grinder photo, it's a photo. So I've been hitting the gym. I've been really kind of in my twunk era. And there's a photo of me flexing my arm because the whole reason I had that photo taken, it is kind of like a douchey photo.
Yeah, and Nick, I'm so sorry to say, but like, it's just so, I'm sorry to tell you this to your face because you're one of my best friends. It's so not you.
No, it is not.
It's just, I see it and I'm just like, who is this?
No, but it's I honestly think it's really funny because if you scroll through so it's the opening photo. But the whole reason I have that photo is because there's a guy who hit me up on Grindr like last week or something and was like, oh, like what's up? And I was like, oh, I'm heading to the gym. And he was like, oh, like send me a pic afterwards. And he's like, send me a pic of you flexing. And I was like, he's really hot, honestly, like maybe. And then I like was in the bathroom at the gym and I looked at my arm and I went, oh my god, wait, I'm kind of built. And so then I took a picture of it and I sent it to him. Oh my god, excuse me. I'm losing it. And so I sent him the picture and he was like, oh, that's really hot, dude. And I was like, oh, thanks. And so then I was like,
sorry. Nick has disclosed to me that sometimes he responds to fucking Grindr messages saying, dude.
I say dude and man sometimes.
That is just not.
I'm like, oh, nice man. I'm like, oh, that's so nice.
That's hot, dude.
I'm like, oh, cool, dude. No, like, I say it like that.
Substitute dude for mama because that's what you say.
I know. But anyway, and so I Mascfish is fine, whatever. People are going to be mad at me. People were mad at me in my comments on TikTok being like, well, I'll get into it because I have to tell the story still. Yeah. But anyway, so that's the photo that we're leading with. But if you scroll through my other photos, it reveals the full picture of who I am as a person. The last photo is a photo of Shailene Woodley crying on the red carpet. Like, and people think it's me. Like,
I mean, that's just giving young.
Well, and then my Instagram is linked. You can click the Instagram. I have videos in which I'm chatting or like just like expressing myself normally. Like, anyway, there are ways people just don't do their due diligence before meeting up with somebody. They're just horny. I, on the other hand, will fully research a person, find their first and last name, find out what their occupation is, what they do for a living, like their social security number, basically, and just like find out their entire life story. So anyway, this man, he invites me to his apartment. It's a luxury building. He's like, I'll meet you in the lobby. I said, great. I roll up to the lobby. He sees me. He was on his phone. As soon as he looks up, he's like, oh, I could tell immediately. He's like, oh no. Like there's like some sort of like, oh God, what did I sign myself up for?
No,
Which
Nick, I'm sorry.
But I was really high. And so I was also really nervous. Oh my God.
And drunk.
I was a little tipsy. I had sobered up from the alcohol by that point. And so on my way to his apartment, I stopped by a CVS, and at the CVS I picked up an enema, and then I also got a little travel thing of mouthwash because like, well, I don't want to like go over there because I smoke a lot, and I one time hooked up with somebody, and after we made out, like I literally had just gotten there and we made out. I hadn't smoked beforehand, and he went, "Oh God, did you like just smoke weed?" And I was like, I haven't smoked in like 8 hours. And he was like, oh my God, it smells so bad. And I was like, oh. So ever since then, I'm like always so self-conscious. And so I was like, I always like make sure that I'm like, my breath smells great before I go over. And so I was nervous. I just smoked a joint. He was old. Sometimes old dudes are weird about weed. I don't know what it is, or like smoking in general.
Yeah.
So I like swished my mouth out with mouthwash, and I like tried to like appear as like sober as possible because I didn't want to like freak him out or whatever. And I keep it together. And so I show up or whatever, and we're chatting and stuff, and we're in the elevator going up. He fully invites me in though. Like the thing that I don't get is like if he wasn't interested from the get-go, he should have just said something, which I understand he didn't want to hurt my feelings or whatever. But what we did was we ended up going up in the elevator. He's talking to me about my day or whatever. He's giving me the side eye, looking me up and down. I think just like putting the pieces together, being like, oh, I see how I may have misinterpreted this. And so then I get into his apartment, and he's like, okay, well, here's the shower if you want to shower. So this man fully lets me go into his bathroom, douche, shower, like prepare. This man had prepared too. I walk into the bathroom, girl, he had like pubes on the toilet seat still. Like he had just like gone and trimmed. Like, he was getting ready. Yeah. And so I come out of the bathroom, and I like had been in there for like 10-15 minutes turning it into a crime scene. I come out, he is pacing his bedroom, like thinking of something to like do or say or whatever. Like he wasn't undressed. Normally the dudes are like naked already or like waiting for me, like stroking their dick or something. And then he was like, oh, you're done? And I was like, yeah. And I like had to put my underwear back on because I was like, well, I don't know. He said he invited me over for a drink.
Your lazy thong.
No, it was just my Calvin Klein briefs. But then because he invited me over for a drink. So I was like, well, if we're just going to like chat first, I don't want to be completely naked and just like be presumptuous. And so I walk back out, and he's still dressed. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, so should we get undressed? And I was like, yeah, okay. And so then he gets undressed. I get undressed. He doesn't come up to me, start touching me or anything. Like I have to go up to him, and then I like lean in to kiss him, and he swerves his head, turns his head away from me, and I was like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he turned his head away from me, and then I was like, oh. And so then I just like start kissing his neck, and then I could feel that he was like a little bit uncomfortable, and then he was like, oh, why don't you just work on and then I was like, okay, like work on his dick. And then he gets onto his bed, flaccid, Play-Doh, nothing, and then just never rose. I was sucking that thing for 90 seconds. I was putting in a lot of work, and he the whole time was just like not looking at me, eyes closed, being like, like, yeah, like trying to like get into it, but I could just tell that he wasn't. And then immediately he was just like, yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. And I was like, huh? And he was like, yeah, I don't think it's happening tonight. And I went, okay. And then I thought, well, maybe we could just like wait. Maybe if we like made out, there was some foreplay, maybe he would get hard. I don't know. That's what normally happens when I'm hooking up with somebody and they like can't get hard right away.
Like you just said earlier, like for me, it's like getting somewhere, going, meeting, like you have to be wanting it already.
Yeah.
And so like when you meet, just already all the steps you have to take, like to like confirm you're getting undressed, getting on the bed, the kissing, the swerving of the head, like. At that point, like, I don't know if I would have just been like, are you good? Like,
well, the thing was, is like, he was trying, I could tell that he was trying really hard to not let it show. I was just really high.
Well, clearly not well.
Well, and I was really horny. Like, I was rock hard. Like, I was just like, I want to get my nut too. I was like, also, it's not just about you. Like, it's about both of us. Like, we both need to enjoy ourselves. And so then when he said that, I was like, oh, and then he just goes, can I get you an Uber? And I was like, oh, he's sending me home.
Yeah.
And then immediately I was like, oh, I'm like, you don't have to do that. And he goes, no, I feel really bad. Like, I invited you all the way out here. Like, let me get you an Uber. Is immediately like standing up and is like pulling out his phone being like, what's your address? And then I have to do it. And I'm like, okay. And then he orders it and he goes, oh my God, it's a Mercedes. Fancy. I was like, as it trying to like bring a moment of levity to the situation. And I was like, cool. I'm like, great. He spent like $60 on that Uber too to send me home, and I was like, you like literally.
Like, this is worth
I was like, babe, it is like 8:30. I was like, I can take the train home. Like, it is not that late. I was like, whatever, I'll take the Uber, it's fine. And then he did not walk me down, like, because he like brought me up, so he didn't walk me down. And then he was like, yeah, I'm really sorry about it, like he was coming up with an excuse to explain why he was kicking me out, or like why he like couldn't get hard or whatever. And I didn't need an excuse. I could just tell, like, you're not interested, it's fine.
Yeah.
He's like, thanks for being a good sport. He's like, I'm new to the gay scene, you know, it kind of just like came out recently. His nightstand, like 3 different kinds of poppers,
ball gag,
like,
dildo,
like different kinds of
chains.
Like, had different kinds of lube. Like, it was just like all very much like he has been also the artwork on his walls. I'm like, mama, you're a faggot. You've been in the fag world for a long time. You don't have to lie to me. Like, there's no. Also, you want me? He told me that he had like adult children, which I do believe. Like, I did. Like, he did seem that like someone who maybe operated as a straight man, like living a double life, like, whatever. Yeah. But I was like, you were definitely having gay sex. Yeah. Like, wow, you were, this is not your first time hooking up with a dude, or like one of your first experiences. I was like, you don't have to lie to me, sweetie. So that was really, really humiliating, ultimately. But no, I think that's it.
I mean, listen.
Well, but the thing that, so I made this TikTok and I talked about it, and then there were angry ass gay people in my comments being like, well, maybe you shouldn't mask fish. And first of all, they're like, well, maybe you should present yourself as you actually are. I do. If anyone has ever seen me on Grindr, they would. Well, they would know.
So the thing is, you do have your Insta linked. So if people wanted to do the research, if they were really concerned or like really just wanted to have a mask on mask experience, which I think is obviously garbage. I recently
it is so garbage. And also, like, if the fact it's a performance ultimately.
No, I know, but also, Nick, I this as a caveat, like, yes, disgusting and everything, but you're playing into it too.
Oh, yes.
But I mean, again, if we're flipping the coin again, it's like, well, sometimes us femme dolls just feel peer pressured to have like a slightly masculine presenting photo on our Grindr, just at the expense of, wanting
Sure.
to get hit up by somebody. And like, sometimes some of these people may meet us and like it happens to me, and it's just like, wow, you're fucking amazing and beautiful and fantastic at sex.
But also, that's what I look like. Like, it's not like me lying. You know what I mean?
No, I know, Nick, but it's just like, yeah, that is what you looked at, but that, like I just said, that photo of you flexing is just not who you are.
It's not who I am, but it is.
So like,
that is what. But I am presenting. Listen, that is who I am at the gym. That's who I am at the gym.
I don't know that.
You've never seen. You've never seen. No. But I also am just like, that's what the main thing, the main kind of takeaway that a lot of the comments that I was receiving were, which are not that many to begin with, but just ones that I thought were really interesting, was just like, presenting yourself like maybe you shouldn't be lying about how you look. That's how I look, girl. I look good. I look masculine sometimes. I look feminine sometimes. I can't help it.
Yeah, I feel like
also if that is like the main takeaway, like if you thought that I was hot, sexy, gorgeous, and beautiful, and that you wanted to fuck the shit out of me from that photo, and then I show up looking the exact same, just a little bit, I would say, hey mama, instead of hey man,
wanna fuck me mama,
like what, that all of a sudden your dick shrivels up like a shrimp? Like, what do you mean? Like, that is where I have problem with. I'm like, that shouldn't matter. Like, if I think attraction, I can get it. I understand the energy, the vibe, sure, masculinity. Like, yeah, I'm a victim of that too. I find that sexy and appealing, but I also don't hold that as the standard. I don't.
No, yeah.
I also am not like, I'm not disregarding like any other kinds of person. Like, if you don't present a certain masculine way to me. Also, like, for example, do you know how many times those same people that are also like calling people out for mask fishing are also doing that too?
No, but that's what I'm just saying. It's just like
it's a double-edged sword in like the way that's like, you want to receive the attention from people, you want to be desired by men, ultimately gay men, and a lot of that you have to feed into this idea that in order to be desirable by men is that you have to be the most masculine presenting that you possibly can be, because gay men are attracted to men.
Exactly. Right. So what is man?
So what is a man?
What is a man?
Ultimately, these are gender questions that, girl, we could talk about for hours.
What is a man? Yes, like, but at this,
and masculinity is a performance, and like ultimately,
you just said it. it's kind of a tough subject too. Like I recently just saw like this person on Instagram repost like an excerpt from like a book talking about masculinity and like not having to like completely just judge people who are attracted to masculinity. So I believe that some people who are attracted to masculinity are also not internalizing homophobia styled hating on femininity. Like I do believe that there are people who probably present masculine, and like do I believe that there are people that present masculine and it's not a performance for them, like they just present masculine and they just act masculine just because that's the way who they are? Sure. Do we know that a lot of people aim to act masculine in order to fit in the gay culture at large? Yes. But like it really is tough because then, yeah, you know, I'm a feminine submissive kind of like bottom, you know, like I'm a bossy bottom, but like ultimately I'm a big fucking bottom. And so like, do I want somebody who's the contrasting of me in bed?
Sure.
Yeah. But that's never, it's not like I'm putting it on my bio being like I only want masculine men to fuck me. Like,
no.
let me tell you, some of the men that, you know, hit me up and whatever, or I hit them up, like when I see somebody and I'm just like horned up by you, a lot of the times some of these like femme tops, or just like skatery looking like alternative like slender tops, you know, like
love them.
I love it. And like I don't know, for me personally, I just love men. And like men can present themselves in so many ways. You can be a feminine top. You can be like an alternative skater top. You can be like fucking like a poppy. You can be a daddy. You can be I just love men so much. So like, you know, the essence of men.
Sure. Yeah.
Radiate.
No, I agree. And
so on that sense, to him, this daddy who like was like, oh, it's not what I was expecting, like it is a bit more layered because he found it problematic. Like he found it like an obstacle that you came and like his completely fantasized idea of like this version of yourself that you were, he didn't see, and he completely just like detached himself sexually. Like that is, mama, like investigate yourself.
No, truly.
You know, because like you have this guy here.
Well, and like also
discover this new person, get, you know, like to get to know the body, get to know the fucking thing, and just fucking like fuck it and just like love it, you know?
Right. Well, and I also, listen, if you don't want to have sex with me, I don't want to force you to have sex with me. That being
said, I mean, what would you have rather him do? Would honest to God, I would have rather him. Would you rather him look at you and be like, sorry, I'm not into it? That would have been even more.
I would have.
I think would have been more.
I think it would have been better had he maybe not said it in such blunt terms, but instead of having me come up to his apartment with him, douche my butthole, take a shower, and like have me prepare thinking that this was going to happen. Because yes, the behavior was telling me one thing, but then, or the way that he was acting around me was telling me one thing, but then he was also leading me on to believe that he was still into it and wanted it to happen. So like, that's why I was just a little bit confused of like, listen, if you're not interested and you're not into it, that's fine. But why have me go through the whole performance and the production of getting ready to do this thing, only then at the very last second be like, actually, never mind. You know, save my time, save whatever.
Well, which is why I'm saying, like, it probably was like a bigger psychological ordeal.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm sure. And I probably would have the same.
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart. My heart goes out to her. I would probably have the same kind of struggle should that happen. And to be quite honest, I have had that happen. Not because the person was not like super masculine.
I'll say it. I've had a moment where I've met up with hookups that like we've all had that moment where we show up and like the picture was from 2 years ago, mama, and then you're like, oh.
There was a time in college. This guy that had been hitting me up for a while. He finally caught me on a low moment because like we would chat, but he wasn't super attractive to the point where I was like, I need to meet up with you right now, this moment. Like I'd flirt with him or whatever, but I would never make plans just because like it was never something super serious. And then finally he caught me at a low moment. I was like, I had been out or something and I had been drunk or whatever. And he was like, you want to come over? He was nearby. And I was like, sure. So I go to his apartment. He opens the door. the pictures he had been using were from like at least 3 or 4 years before. There had been a major physical transformation. Let me tell you that. And it was, unfortunately, in a bad way.
Yeah.
He did not look. And I, of course, you know, was immediately like, oh, I'm not into it. But I also stayed.
Yeah, I typically do that.
And I sucked his dick.
Yeah.
Which I probably shouldn't have done, like, because I didn't really want to, which, oh, girl. But, like, I also was, like, horny, and I also was just like, you know what, I'm here. I wanted to suck a dick, so let me
Yeah, and then you're just like, you know, like, I'm going to make this person's day.
And trust and believe, I did. And then he really wanted to fuck, and I went, no, I'm going to go home.
I've done that recently in my neighborhood. There was this one guy on the grid who I've been pursuing, and he is being, you know, very much kind of in the same element. Like, he thinks he's hot shit, and like, he is hot from what I gathered from the pics.
Right, well, you can tell.
And so I was like, okay, you know, sometimes like I'm, you know me, first and foremost, I'm a go-getter. I'm a hustler. I'm J-Lo's the hustler. Like, I am not afraid to make a move. I will make a move once, twice. I'm never to the point where, like, you know, those dolls that just like message. I'm not obsessive like that, because I will block. So like, I never do that, but I always will make a move. And for me, like, I don't constantly message someone who's already like not responded. Like, take a hint. But I have tapped people just, you know, in different occasions, just to be like, hey, I'll just tap you and see if that incited anything. You know, it's a tap is a little bit more like, hey, I'm here, you know, just so you know, I'm interested.
I'm available.
I'm not just like messaging and being annoying and stalkery. I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to tap. I'm in the mood, whatever, if you want to, you know. And so he ended up tapping me randomly like a few months ago. And I was like, oh, maybe he's horny. He's into it. And I was like, okay, I'm down. You know, no fucking, this is all a sport at this point. You know, it's just like, hey, we want to fuck. Long story short, would always be like, oh my God, one of the things he told me was, which is problematic, he was like, oh, are you all cleaned up? Because I'm hung. And just like always kept implying like, so are you clean? Like, are you all good to go? Are you prepped? Because I'm hung. Like, and sometimes these boys are just like, hey, you know, like, are you clean? And I'm like,
clean as like your hole?
Yeah, like, okay. You know, they're just saying like, are you clean? Like, yeah, but no. I mean, obviously, like that. Also, the verbiage of clean for any sort of STI
kind
or
of
like
problematic.
It's very problematic. You know, like whatever. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, get over yourself. Like, we're all on prep. Hopefully, whatever.
Not everyone's on prep.
No, but I mean, at least I'm on prep and I'm being safe. But at the same time, it's just like, you know, people can live happily, healthy lives being positive. Okay.
Yeah, undetectable is untransmittable.
And I have sex with plenty dolls, and I love, and I think it's great.
Yeah, there shouldn't be it shouldn't be a barrier or a reason to disregard somebody.
Absolutely not. And I think whatever. So anyway, so I hate it when tops do that. They're just like, hey, are you all cleaned out? You know, like, are you good? Are you prepared? And I called this one guy out. I remember one time, and he was just like, I'm the last person to bottom shame, you know? And I'll be like, yeah, but you're micro bottom shaming. Like, you're subconsciously bottom shaming if you have to be asking somebody if they're clean. Like, if they're cleaned out, if they're douched out. It's just like, just assume that the bottom is doing the work, you know? We don't have, and let the bottom lead the conversation. As bottoms, I will be the one who will tell you, oh, hey, by the way, like, hey, I'm coming from like hanging out with my friends. Like, I'm not coming from home. Like, if I'm ever like vibing with a top or like talking to somebody, like, I will be the first one to tell you, like, hey, just PS, like, I'm coming from hanging out with friends. Like, I haven't gotten a chance to go home and like get ready. That's what I usually say, you know? Is that cool? A lot of guys are like, totally cool, or come over here, you know, you're welcome to use my shower, you're welcome to clean up here, you're welcome to like get ready, you know, you're welcome to freshen up. And I find that nice, but let the bottom do the fucking talking. Let the bottom lead that conversation, because we are the ones who are going to be taking care of business. So don't patrol me. Don't bottom police me. Okay.
Oh my God. Wow. I didn't realize this was happening so much to you. No, I'm
just saying, well, I'm so sorry, but like, you know, like some of these guys, and I'm sorry that a lot of hung guys are reaching out to me, but no,
I mean, I'm happy for you. Could never. My whole could never.
I mean, unfortunately, realistically and objectively speaking, oh my God, your whole could never.
No, literally could never. But that being said, we're willing to try.
But rest assured, viewer and listener, as you may have known from my last episode, not all of the not everything is a success story.
Never.
You know, it's 99.9% a success story, and I recently had a not so successful of a story.
I would love to
which
have
we've talked-
99.9% of my experiences with men to be success stories.
Yeah, but I mean, also considering the number of men that I've fucked.
It's also 99.
I've gotten fucked
It's
by.
more like 99.9% are unsuccessful. And then the 0.1% is
But you
like
know what? That's gotten your career, and you know what? To that I say.
a career with nothing to show, no money to show for it.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
So anyway, so back to this guy. So he has the gall and audacity to like do that kind of conversation, and I was like, you know what, fuck you. I was like, and at that point, like I was really horny, and he was really hot, so I was just like, fuck. Like I was like, yeah, I'm good to go, you know. But then, long story short, months pass. Like I keep seeing him, and he's always there, and I'm just like, oh, this idiot, you know, he probably thinks he's too hot for me or whatever. And recently, caught girly pop on the train.
Wait,
I turned to my left. I see someone standing, and I was like, "This was a good." I was like, "It's him," and I saw him, and I was like, "At
Did
first,
you say hi?
No, at first he saw me, and I saw him, and at first I was like, "Oh, you're the guy," and then I looked at him more closely, and I was like, "Oh, I see why we've talked plenty of times, and you've baited me, but never agreed to meet up with me because she don't look the same."
Wait,
those
what?
photos
Lazy eye?
must be. Hey, listen to the lazy eye community.
No, we
I'll
love
take
and
a
support.
lazy eye.
We love and support.
Love and support. Girly, and this is not to body shame. I'm just saying.
Okay, now I'm nervous.
That because in his photos, and actually, and I will call it out just for the purpose of like how he was behaving online. He was acting like all hot shit. You know, all his photos in like a Speedo and abs and like just being masked and like everything just super masked, bro. When I saw her in the train uptown, Mama had no abs. Mama had a round belly. And is that bad? No. Had I seen it, I probably, I love different body types, but I'm just saying, you're fishing on your grinder because those photos of you with the ab and looking all masked and tan, now you don't look that.
Was she wearing a crop top?
Not wearing a crop top.
But how did you know she didn't have abs?
Because it was a difference of about 30 to 40 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was notoriously not the same body that you had. The face was not the same. The face looked like it had been through trials and tribulations.
Maybe she's currently in a rebranding era. She's trying to rebrand. She's trying to, you know.
No, because when you rebrand online and all of your platforms.
Well, maybe she's cooking.
Don't try to build excuses for this trash person who is being so like superior and like better than everybody else online. You could tell it was one of those typical profiles. Like, if you don't have this and that, like, don't talk to me. Like,
oh, okay, then never mind. Fuck that person.
He's a douchebag.
Okay,
He's a
fuck that
douchebag. And so I was like, oh, and he looked at me and then quickly turned around, went to the other end of the train. So he was self-conscious. And so, like, that's when you know.
Well, it's always,
you're actually you're fishing people. You're catfishing. You're literally, because you don't look the same. You're a different person, and it's okay if you don't look like you looked before, but don't put that out there and pretending like you're this whatever when you're not.
well, that's
I am so oh my glasses. But yeah.
Well, but that's just, it goes to show that the people that are the most vocal about those kinds of things are the ones that are most insecure about
Absolutely.
those aspects about themselves.
And so I'm just wondering about.
That's
like,
why I don't feel
even contacting anybody, because if anyone were to come to your place expecting what you're putting out on your fucking ad, mama, they would ask for a refund.
Well, that's why I don't ever feel. That's why with the whole mask fishing thing on my end, I don't ever feel bad about that, because again, like, that's what
Mama, I never feel bad about that, because
I never,
no
that's
matter what
I look like. Also, like,
But no
I'm
matter-
secure in myself.
Yeah, but no matter what picture I put out there, girly pop, these bitches be knowing. They see a photo of me and they're like, that's a femme bitch.
Sure.
Even with a baseball cap, even with whatever, it doesn't matter what I'm wearing. I could be wearing an entire, like, the NFL Patriots outfit. They'll be like, that girly pop loves it up the ass as a femme doll. Now, what's also funny, oh my god, we were like really going long today, that people, and this is not a brag whatsoever, but we've discussed this before. I don't know if it's because I'm brown, I don't know what it is, but even though my profile clearly states like bottom, I haven't even updated it to first bottom after P-Town, which I don't know if I should.
I did just with the daddies now.
You did?
Mm-hmm. But again, I have not yet to have the desire.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I still get like people hitting me up on Grindr or whatever that are like, hey daddy or hey poppy, and when I hate that, and I'm like, some people are seeing me and they're seeing, I don't know if they're blind, well, with no shame to blind people, but they're just like hitting me up being like, have you read my profile?
Well, most of the time they don't.
But also, like, have you not gathered, you didn't bother to scroll all the way down to know that I'm a bottom? Because, like, my photos give bottom.
No, but that's the thing is, like, sometimes people, like, especially men, their second head is the one that is controlling them when they're on the apps. So they really just kind of look at your profile and they really just kind of hit message. Because there's been many of times where I've also just been hit up by a fellow bottom and I'm like, oh, what are we going to do? Braid each other's hair?
And I guess maybe it's a compliment, but we were just talking about like how masculinity is not the end all be all. So like me, I'm very proud of being a bottom. I'm proud of being femme. Like those are things that like empower me. And so it's just like, am I supposed to like?
Well, it shouldn't.
Well, I should. But I don't.
You should be ashamed.
You should be ashamed. I don't know. It's a bigger topic, but anyway, I guess in conclusion, the reason why I'm sore is not because I've had so much sex. It's because I've been trying to get back on my fitness era too. I famously used to be a fitness person, and I stopped to pursue the art. Oh, I've always been going to pursuage.
That's not a word.
Oh, okay. Well, I just made one up. In the pursuit.
Yes,
in the pursuit.
that is
in the
the
pursuit
word.
of happiness. Will Smith. Slapgate.
Oh my god! I just got slapped. I did nothing.
Exactly.
Okay, anyway.
Just like Chris Rock did.
Wrap it up because we have to get our pioneers and trailblazers.
So, no, I've just been, been trying to get back on track. I appreciate myself, when I'm mostly physically active and like, doing whatever. So I've been getting back. I used to work for a certain cycling studio, which, rhymes with mole cycle. And so
wow, I wonder what that one could be.
And so I used to work for them, and whatever. Thought I had a career in that for like a good six months, when I was just like having a mentee be, just being like, I'm not booking any acting gigs. Like maybe this is my path, and I was like, actually, it's not. But I still value it. I still like the workout. Like structured workouts work for me. I don't think unless I have a personal trainer, I'll never be the person who like just shows up to the gym and just knows what to do, unless it's at a treadmill. Like I will never be a gym girly who's just like, all right, let me get my reps in. Like I like structured workouts where I'm being told what to do. So like Banana Theory, a studio who may not be called the name of like a fruit theory. Can we say those things? We can probably say it, right?
Yes, you can say those.
I'm just saying. Oh, I guess like based on like sponsorships or whatever.
No one is sponsoring us.
Well,
right
eventually, now. But like Orange Syria, like Soul Cycle.
They'd probably sue us for speaking their name. They'd be like, actually, you actually have to pay. No, they'll pay us to stop talking about them.
But anyway, so in DC, I was visiting and I like finding studios in the local areas, and I went to a 7 a.m. class because I used to take like. Well, I used to like work those like 7 a.m., 5 a.m. classes, which I like because it gets your day started pretty well. I like it, like we just detoured into me just talking about like me trying to be a healthier person.
Yeah, bitch, wrap it the fuck up.
I know, but like I just went to like the 7 a.m. class in DC. I went to the Georgetown neighborhood, which was really cute. Any DC watchers or listeners? Georgetown was really cute, like the college area. It was really like collegey, but like like they have an Apple store and whatever store, like white. It was white iced. And this instructor named Tiff did just the right kind of class I like in the morning times. Like I like hardcore classes, and I went in, and I am so my thighs are thighying. I'm sore. If I were to ride a dick tonight, I would only be able to do it for like about 10 seconds. Like, that's how sore my thighs are.
So you're gonna be a pillow princess tonight?
So I'm gonna be a pillow princess tonight. Let's hope. Going back to DC tomorrow to finally have a meeting with this man who, I recently talked to pre-pot.
Sure. And is that your pioneer for the week?
My pioneer for the week is... what's the trailblazer? Let me think. I don't really think
of one. I guess my trailblazer for the week.
Oh my God! Sorry to interrupt you.
Continue.
Oh wow, your face! I didn't like the face you gave me first and foremost.
Well, you interrupted, but continue.
Yeah, but you always interrupt me, so why can't I interrupt
you? Speak.
Anyway, speak now, okay, Taylor. My fucking pioneer. Last night at the show, I went to do crowd work as I always do. And we were talking about like relationships or ex or whatever, and I was like, who at this table would you fuck? I asked this one chick, and she goes, me, because I'm the hottest one at the table. And I was like, my pioneer is whoever girly was the one who, when I asked her who you would fuck at this table, answered by saying me. She would fuck herself because she thought she was the hottest at the table. That is Peru energy. Yeah. And I had never encountered somebody at one of my shows who responded. Well, her and the girl who a few months ago, I asked her if she would put her photo on her resume. Because the topic was like, is it okay for you to like send a photo with your resume, or should it just be blind? Should you be judged by your looks when you apply for a job? And she was like, I would submit my photo. And I was like, why? And she was like, because I'm cute. And I was like, yes, use your cuteness to your advantage, girly pops. Mm-hmm. So I guess my pioneer is beauty in general. Which I have.
The only thing that I can think of for my trailblazer would be the drug deal, the old-fashioned drug deal that I saw on the train last night. I was on my way home after seeing Peru's show and a night out, and I came across a man in an oversized blazer who was doing the age-old profession of trying to sell drugs to people in public on the train, which I have not seen truly like ever since living here, and I've been here for like 6 years. And I saw someone purchase, which was like kind of crazy, and it was I think really beautiful, and I think we're back to our roots.
Recently, our mutual friend Thomas and I left Julia's, the bar in the West Village, and Thomas is sober, and which is great. I mean, he hangs out, he goes to the bars, like he hangs with the dolls, and like I love him. But it was really interesting because we leave Julia's and we're walking down a street, and then we make a right on some of the alleys have construction going, so you have to walk on the street, like on the pavement or whatever, the road. And so we're making a ride back to where like the construction ends, and we turn right, and what do we see but like two people literally injecting themselves with drugs.
We love.
And then Thomas and I had like a moment of just like 15 seconds of not speaking to each other because it was actually quite uncomfortable just watching two people inject drugs to themselves. But then we looked at each other and we're like, New York's back.
No, that happened real quick. Last before we end for the day. My senior year of college was walking home with my roommate at the time, who's one of my best friends, and we were walking home, and there was this man who looked like fratty finance bro, like wearing a blue button down tucked into like gray pants, like he looked so clean cut, and man was shooting up heroin on the stoop, and like on the stoop of this apartment building randomly in the street, and just so casually too. And we were walking by, and as soon as we like walked past, we both grabbed each other's arms, so we didn't say anything and we didn't want to say anything. And as we were walking, she's like, did you see that? And I was like, and she's like, oh my God. I was like, don't say anything till we get to the end of the street. She's like, okay. And I was like, that is crazy. It's the people that you would least expect, but
always,
people do what they gotta do to fill the void.
Speaking of things that we need to do to fill the void, we have comedy shows coming up.
We have a comedy show coming up October 10th at 7:30.
I thought we were doing...
Or was that 9? Oh, is it 9 normally?
I forgot. Well, normally we do that. Okay. Anyway, we're back from summer hiatus. And like we mentioned in the last pod, by this, the announcement was already made that we're part of New York Comedy Festival this year.
In November.
That's November 10th. Friday, November 10th at 7 p.m. at Brooklyn Art House. All of the links are in our bio. But we're about to post the links to our October show at Brooklyn Art House. Again, that is October 10th. We will be confirming the time because both of us need to check the emails.
I believe it's probably 9.
Are we doing some? But it may be earlier too. I don't know. We'll check.
We'll double check, but it'll be check. On the ticket link. It'll be correct.
But come, it's Pioneers and Trailblazers, the live show, which started this whole thing. It's based on the Oregon Trail game from the 90s, an era that I have no idea about. All I know from it is from social media. But it seems
so young.
But because I'm the youngest person alive, but it is, from what I heard, a very pivotal game from that time. So we invite people. We ask them to pick a Pioneer and Trailblazer, and then we head out west with them to an undisclosed location to all of the guests up until that time, and then we go through the trials and tribulations of going out west as wagon leaders and independent women that we are.
Yeah, so purchase tickets if you want to see us, and then we'll announce the lineup for both shows, for the October show soon, and then November probably like within the month or so.
Yeah, we already secured a couple, and I'm excited. It's gonna be a really fun lineup.
No, it's gonna be good. So everyone get tickets, link in bio.
Chicks, and as always, please. Oh, by the way, oh my God. Thank you to the 300 plus collectively people that have subscribed to our podcast.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
That is actually really exciting. We can clip this. That's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
Well, I mean, we just started, so we're really, really excited and happy and humbled that you're choosing to listen to our sex talks. And
also our really intellectual discussions of larger topics that affect society and culture at large. So thank you.
So thank you for that. Thank you for over 100 subscribers on YouTube. This is they're smaller numbers, but small mighty. They're growing, and we just want to keep growing. So if you really want to help out, I would venture out and say that you should subscribe to either thing. Rate, because it takes 2 seconds to just click that 5-star thing. Leave a comment if you can on Apple Podcasts. Like, say what you like about this pod. Just whatever traction you can help us get, so then we can just continue doing this, and hopefully by the start of next year we can start doing bigger and better things.
All right.
Oh my God, we're gonna cry.
No, I'm not gonna cry.
Wow. That is the end.
That's the end. Happy Pioneers and Trailblazers.
Happy Pioneers and Trailblazers. Are you gonna come out today or no?
Well, we'll see.
Okay, we'll see.
Cause anyway. I'm gonna go see a movie, but I don't know which movie. Cause I'm gonna take myself out on a little date. Cause I didn't get to do it yesterday.
Cause you were busy.
I was busy, Tina.
You were busy.
I have to go buy more weed too, I think, but I don't know. It was payday yesterday, so like the bank account was looking good.
Yeah, mine was looking good, and then it was just like, oh, okay, wait.
And I went grocery shopping too, and I spent less than I thought I was going to. So like, the funds this week are gonna be good.
Oh my God, the funds.
Okay. Anyway, thank you. Bye.
I love you. We don't have that much money, please. Bye.